Hello everyone, welcome to Wicked West Books. My name is Meg West, and today is Bookish Backgrounds episode 3. This is going to be about a book series that absolutely no one is interested in. This is a book series that has one other booktuber talking about it, like literally just the one. And then 5 or so that have done videos on the author of this book series, because she has written one other series and it's a little bit more popular than this one. Not the necklaces, my darling. No one is talking about these trilogies, and that's fine. They're not like my most favorite books of all time, but if you wanted to know what one of the top 3 books that has had a lasting impression on me is, it's gonna be the first book in this series. The first book in the series is Feast of Souls by C.S. Friedman. It's the first book in the Magister Trilogy, and the way that I was introduced to this book the very first time, I was at my public library when I was in high school. I was 17 years old and I was looking at the romance novels. What do I find but this sci-fi fantasy book? It had a sticker obviously saying that it belonged in the sci-fi fantasy, and it's not a romance novel. So then I picked it up and I read the back of the book. At the end of her best-selling Coldfire trilogy, C.S. Friedman challenged readers to imagine what a world would be like if sorcery required the ultimate sacrifice, that of life itself. Now in a groundbreaking new fantasy novel, Feast of Souls, she introduces us to a terrifying world in which the cost of magic is just that, in which the fuel for sorcery is the very fire of the human spirit, and those who hunger for magical power must pay for it with their lives. In this epic tale of nightmare shadows and desperate hope, the greatest threat of all may not be that ancient of enemies returned and ancient wars resumed, but of the darkness that lies within the hearts of men. That movement was the kitten jumping on the tripod. So I took the book home with me. Obviously, I kind of had to. The concept of a fantasy in which you have to use your own life force to power the spells, yeah, I needed to read that. So I took it home and I did. The Starlights! So the book came home with me, and it is a book that I have thought of nearly every day since. In the 13 years since I first read this book. Not only do you have that fun concept of magic, then there are the Magisters, which is this is the Magister's Trilogy. So Magisters, what are they? They are a type of magician, typically. Witches are the ones who use their own life force to power their spells. The Magisters go beyond that. They start off as witches, but then when they have used up their entire life force, they're thrown into like a state of panic where they have to decide if they want to hold on to life or to let it go. And if they decide to hold on to life, what they have to do is reach outward and find another life source to use. They burn the life force of some random stranger. They never find out who he is or she is. He could be an old man, he could be a child. They don't know, but they steal the life force from someone else. Not only do you have that unique kind of magic to it, you also have a very unique monster that pops up into these books. I just found a menu to my university restaurant in here, where I was apparently reading the book and writing down every single name that I found in it. That's interesting. I did not know that that was in there. So this is the monster that is created for this book series. It is called an Akati. It is a soul eater. It is a combination of a dragon and a dragonfly, basically, in appearance, and it goes around and it just sucks the souls out of living things, killing them, and, you know, goes on living that way. So yeah, you can see on this cover, the second book, you can see a little bit more of the Akati on it. This is the second book, Wings of Wrath. And the third book in the series is Legacy of Kings. So it started with just the first book. I read it, I loved it. That creature was just so fascinating to me that I took on its name. Pretty much on any website I have ever used, if I needed a screen name, I have used the name of the Soul Eater as my screen name. I've used it for forever. I just reread the first book because I had never finished the trilogy. I just reread the first book so that I could go on and finish the series. And I was reading it and I noticed a couple other names in it. The Morati is what the Magisters call the mortals, and that's another thing that I've used for screen names before. And then there is a witch queen whose name is Sideria, and that is also a name that I have used. What are you getting into back there? Okay. Yeah, there's a hole behind it, huh? That is another name that I have used when I played World of Warcraft that I forgot completely. It came from this series. The characters I have thought about since I've read the book. It's not a great, the books have issues. They're extremely misogynistic, and there isn't any reasonable explanation for that misogyny until the final book in the series. But I still thought about these books basically every single day since I first read the book 13 years ago. And I always knew that I was going to finish the series, but also sometimes you wait for things so long that it's hard to get back into them or hard to want them to be over. And I didn't really need to fear any of that, because Wings of Wrath and then after it, Legacy of Kings, both of them were fantastic books. There was no second book syndrome. It just felt like a continuation of the first book all the way through the trilogy, and I got to know some of the existing characters so much better. Got to lose a few more characters, because they do that. Are you happy back there, little man? Hi. It's not something that has been asked for, but it is something that really just had a deep impact on my reading more than anything. And also, as a redhead, I like going by a Soul Eater as a screen name. It suits me, I think. I love the name. I don't think I'm ever going to stop using it as a screen name. But anyway, back to the plot of the first book. The main character, her name is Kamala, and in this world of Magisters, there are no female Magisters. All of the Magisters are men, and the theory in the first book is that the reason that there are no female Magisters is that women do not possess the ability to be able to steal someone else's life force for themselves to live. But obviously that's not going to be the real reason, because there are women who are perfectly capable of taking someone else's life in order to live. Kamala is, as far as we know, the first one to actually successfully go through the whole process of becoming a Magister. I do want to give a content warning for book 1, and then again, particularly in book 3 for SA. It happens to an on-screen character both in book 1 and book 3. There are mentions and discussions about it through the whole thing, so I just want to make sure you know about that if you need that kind of warning. If you do read the books, please let me know. Even if you hated it. It's okay if you absolutely hated this book. I just would like to be able to talk about them with someone else who has read them. So if you hated it, no judgment for me whatsoever. I know that they're not perfect, but something about these books, this book in particular, I've just never been able to get out of my mind. I know that the camera is not where I left it. I had to chase down pure chaos. I will be rereading it down the line. It is something I am going to keep forever. I can't ever see letting go of these books, just because somehow they had an effect on me. That is going to be it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, please give me a thumbs up and feel free to subscribe to my channel if you have not done so already. I am back on posting, hopefully on a schedule, every Wednesday. Have a wicked day.